talk about education. When we were asked for doing this presentation, the last one of this year, the only condition was to talk about problems in our society. I think the biggest problems are the ones that are hidden, the ones that are not so that popular in the news, and that's because they are dangerous. And education is one of them, and an important one. We won't talk about all the kids around the world that have no access to education, but about our education, our system of education, a wrong one, because as you might know, there are so many problems, and it seems that it doesn't work so well. Education is important at home and then later in school, high school and college, and has this huge responsibility, which is to form the new generation of people. Teachers have that task of teach the persons who will rule the world in the future, and they can guide these people to a good path or a bad path. And as students, I think you understand what I'm saying. A teacher can change what you think about a subject and make you love the subject that you hated before. Can also happen the opposite. To begin, we have this beautiful graphic, which is from 2008, but things haven't changed a lot, so we can use that one. And this graphic shows how Spain is in the third place of the European countries with most early living in school, and that is the proof that this education system doesn't work well. So, what are we doing wrong, and why are we in this third place? We will talk about two of the problems we think there are, which is the lack of motivation and the fact that our system tries to teach the mass when we are individually all different. And then we'll talk about the worrying future with this new law, the when, and then about a bit about new technologies and how they have tried to change a bit, but there are some problems but some other good things. Christian will talk about the motivation, and Katia about the teaching the math.
Motivation. This is probably the first step to learn something, to be motivated. And guess what? We aren't motivated. So right now I think it's a good moment to talk about that, because we're having a lot of great exams and oral presentations.
Yes, you're right now.
And many of us just want to get away from here, and we don't have many motivations right now. So we found an interesting article that talks about motivation, and it says that according to some studies, there are 4 conditions to motivate a student. The first one is when a student feels competent enough to complete a task. So it's important that a student never gets the impression that it's impossible for him to complete a task. And they should get the feeling that they're actually progressing and that they are acquiring knowledge when they're learning. The second one is when the students see a direct link between their actions and an outcome. So many times students learn something and then they think, what am I studying? I'm never going to use that. So the school lesson should show to the students not only the school stuff, what they have to learn, but also how it is going to be useful to them. And if we do that and then we realize that some things aren't going to be useful, then maybe we should consider changing the things. The third one is when the task has interest or value to the student. So if something attracts your attention, or if you have personal interest in it, then you learn much faster. So it would be good to teach the students in a way that they get to know the value of the lesson, the beautiful, the interesting part of it. And this works best if the teacher really likes what he's explaining and if he does his job with passion, without being ridiculous. And The fourth and last one is when completing the task brings social rewards. Maybe this is not the best manner to motivate a student, but it also pushes them if they feel like becoming a part of a group or being recognized by a person for their work, and it's rather a temporal motivation. So if none of these conditions are given, a student simply memorizes the lesson and he doesn't really incorporate and relate what he studies, and then he behaves a bit like a robot because he only does what he's being told to do, and then he gets a wrong idea of the lesson, of learning, and of the whole education.
Another problem is that a class consists of many people with various personalities and abilities. We are all different, and it's hard for a teacher to treat those problems properly. The teacher is forced to try to teach all the class in a way that everybody understands the lesson. And many times in our educational system, we forget to give enough importance to the students as individual beings. Since everybody is different, everybody wants to study something different, and everybody needs more or less time than others to learn something. This is another reason why maybe our educational system doesn't work. There have been attempts to improve our educational system, but none of them were really effective. The last one is the lab that has been approved this month. One of the points of this lab is the elimination of selectividad and some of the options that we currently have. There's going to be a final evaluation for bachelorette students, but every university is going to be able to make a different exam to evaluate every student. Meanwhile, the students of 4th ESO are going to pass a final test 2 that is going to represent the 30% of their final mark. And finally, 1 hour of daily sports is going to be added to our normal classes. And private schools are going to, in Catalonia, are going to teach in Spanish.
The new technologies. One possibility to change the classes as we knew them before, to make them feel different, are the new technologies, such as the use of computers or interactive whiteboards. But these devices don't necessarily improve the lesson. They have some advantages. For example, you can share documents between the teacher and the students. The classes are more dynamic because you can show pictures or graphics and videos. And it also saves paper, for example. But there are also some disadvantages which should be considered. A futile access of devices costs a lot of money, and when I say that, you only have to think about the TV at our school entrance. I don't think it's really necessary. And if you don't use them in a decent way, if there are too many pictures or gimmicks, then the students can get distracted. They don't concentrate on the lesson. And bad preparation also takes away a lot of class time. So for example, when the sound doesn't work and we are like half of an hour trying to repair it, and then in the end we don't listen to anything anyway. So they can improve the lesson, they can help, but we have to watch out how we use them.
As we have seen at the beginning, we think education is important. And now it seems we are in a time of changes, and we'll probably see how all this ends or continues. And we are the future, so we are the ones that have the power to change that. Finally, we will show a little part of a video documentary about the education, which is very interesting. This part talks about the origin of our education system, also about for what was created, and a bit about what Katia has explained about teaching the math. It's a bit rebellious, but it's interesting, and let's see what you think of it. And well, it's in Spanish because this video was done in South America, but it has the subtitles in English.
It's a long one. I think it's 1 hour. Or 2. I've seen videos.
Mismo al mismo tiempo.
Este sistema de cadena de montaje, que nace con el taylorismo, fue aplicado tanto en la industria, la escuela y el ejército de diferentes países y culturas de Occidente.
Hasta hace pocas décadas la escuela tenía estas cosas de cuartel y de asilo, e incluso el recreo termina con un timbre anónimo, no humano, que indica a los niños que deben adiestrarse poco a poco para pararse en una determinada baldosa detrás de determinada cabeza para formar una fila, generalmente de menor a mayor.
Durante los últimos siglos, hemos construido nuestras escuelas a imagen y semejanza de las prisiones y las fábricas, priorizando el cumplimiento de las reglas, el control social. La escuela se pensó como una fábrica de ciudadanos obedientes, consumistas y eficaces, donde poco a poco las personas se convierten en números, calificaciones y estadísticas. Las exigencias y presiones del sistema terminan deshumanizándonos a todos, porque van más allá de los maestros, directivos o inspectores escolares.
Están considerados grupos homogéneos, con contenidos homogéneos que tienen que obtener resultados parejos.
Que todos tenemos que saber lo mismo. A pesar de que los adultos no sabemos todo lo mismo, a pesar de que no nos dedicamos todos a lo mismo, en las escuelas todos tienen que querer hacer lo mismo y hacerlo igualmente bien.
Entonces la escuela tiene poca capacidad de responder a las necesidades individuales, porque la escuela instruye. Es un centro de instrucción y es lo que hace. El que no aprende, se queda. Eso no es bien.
That's all. I don't know what you think of this video, but it's a bit negative, but it's to show that we have to change and go to another way and make things better.
Do you agree, by the way?
Yeah.